All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. And today, we're taking a look at something that is revolutionizing how businesses handle their networks.
You bet. We're talking about network as a service or NaaS.
NaaS. Now, I know that might sound a little intimidating to some folks out there, but trust me, it's a game changer. And we're going to break it all down for you today.
Absolutely. We're going to make it easy to understand. Think of it this way. It's like ordering takeout instead of, building a whole kitchen every time you're hungry.
I like that, a perfect analogy.
Mm.
So for all you learners out there who want to quickly grasp the essentials, think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to NaaS.
Exactly. We've got you covered.
Our sources for today give us a really solid rundown. We'll be looking at what NaaS is, obviously, why it's becoming so important, the cool features it offers, and the benefits businesses are already reaping.
And the really interesting thing is how AI is starting to play a role, making networks even smarter.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a big one. And speaking of intriguing tidbits, did you know you can actually get the network capabilities you need without dealing with all the hardware headaches?
Right. It's pretty amazing.
We're going to explain how that all works. But first, let's start with the basics. What exactly is NaaS?
Okay, so in the simplest terms, NaaS gives you on-demand access to all these virtualized networking resources.
Virtualized, so not like those big clunky servers we're all used to seeing.
Exactly. That's the old way of doing things. NaaS is all about doing it in the cloud.
So like, imagine a company needs to quickly beef up their network because, I don't know, their website suddenly gets flooded with traffic.
Perfect example. With NaaS, they don't have to scramble to buy and install a bunch of new servers.
They can just, kind of dial up like a volume knob?
Exactly. It's instant scalability without all the hassle.
That's incredible, and I think this highlights why NaaS is becoming so important. Businesses today, they're dealing with these crazy, complex networks. The cloud, mobile users, everything's changing so fast.
And NaaS allows businesses to keep up. It gives them the flexibility and agility to adapt to this constantly evolving landscape.
Which ultimately translates to big benefits, like what?
Well, like you mentioned, reduced complexity. You don't have to manage all those physical components. It also significantly lowers costs and increases scalability. So you can easily adjust your network resources as your needs change.
Okay, so let's dig into some of the key features and components that make all this possible. And let's try to make it real for our listeners.
Absolutely. So let's start with virtualized networking, which we kind of touched on already. It's like the foundation of NaaS.
Instead of physical routers and switches, everything's running as software.
Exactly. And that makes it incredibly flexible.
Got it. And then there's centralized management. That sounds pretty amazing.
Oh, it is. You can basically control your entire network from one dashboard, kind of like adjusting the temperature in your house from your phone, everything in one place.
That would save so much time and energy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's that pay-per-use model we talked about.
Right. So you only pay for what you actually use. No more big upfront investments, just like your electricity bill.
That makes a lot of sense. But what about security? If you're relying on a third party to manage your network, are there more risks?
That's a great question. And honestly, reputable NaaS providers have incredibly tight security measures in place. They've got advanced firewalls, intrusion detection systems, data encryption, often way more than a company could manage on their own.
So potentially more secure.
Exactly. Plus, they're constantly updating their systems to meet the latest compliance standards, so businesses don't have to worry about that.
That takes a lot of pressure off. So we've talked about what NaaS is, why it's important, and some of its key features. But let's talk about the benefits. How does this translate to real-world advantages for businesses?
Okay, well, one of the biggest benefits is agility. Businesses can respond to market changes much faster. And of course, those cost savings we talked about. That frees up budget for other things like innovation.
And then there's the AI component, which is pretty mind-blowing.
Right. Imagine your network being able to predict and prevent problems before they even happen. That's what AI is bringing to the table. It's like having a GPS for your network, finding the most efficient routes and avoiding traffic jams.
And why are so many businesses adopting NaaS? I mean, is it just the cost savings or is there something more?
It's definitely more than that. Businesses are realizing that they don't need to be in the business of managing infrastructure. They want to focus on outcomes, things like efficiency, application performance, and delivering great customer experiences.
So it's a shift in mindset.
Exactly. NaaS allows them to make that shift.
And do you have any real-world examples, stories about companies that have successfully implemented NaaS?
Sure. One that comes to mind is a manufacturing company that was struggling to connect its facilities around the world. They implemented NaaS and were able to create this really secure, high-performance network, and that allowed for, real-time data sharing and collaboration.
That's huge.
It was. It dramatically improved their supply chain efficiency and their overall productivity.
So it's not just about, like, keeping the lights on. It's about opening up new possibilities.
Absolutely. And as AI and networking technologies evolve, we're going to see even more amazing applications of NaaS.
It's incredible to think about.
Yeah.
But I think the key takeaway here is that NaaS is more than just a technology. It's a completely new way of thinking about networks and their role in business success.
Couldn't agree more.
So here's a final thought for our listeners. If you could have a network that was as responsive and adaptable as, say, your smartphone,
Hmm.
constantly learning and optimizing itself,
Hmm.
what would that mean for you, for your work, for your life? What could you achieve with that kind of connectivity and control? This is something to think about.
Definitely is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of NaaS. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.